Hi everyone, this is Neel Raithatha, consultant audiologist and director of Clearwax. Thank you for joining me in my latest video of a patient who attended with bilateral, really hardened wax plugs, and these were hard as stones. They were, in fact, at the end of the procedure, I dropped one of these plugs of wax on my medical trolley and it pinged just like a stone would, and the patient was really shocked and surprised to realise that something like that was inside their ear. Now, this patient has been symptomatic for about 7 months, and so they visited their GP back then, and they were advised to use drops, and their symptoms slightly improved, but in recent weeks they returned, and the patient was experiencing severe hearing loss and some otalgia, mainly in their right ear. So this is the patient's left ear. The right ear was a lot more complex, and you could actually see that the hardened stone-like wax plug was compressed against the canal wall, so the canal was a bit red. There was a bit of erythema around the midsection of the ear canal. Now, I soon realised this is not going to come out solely using suction, so I initially attempted to insert the right angled ear hook, but there was limited space. And this is where the ear pick comes into its own. Even if there's no opening, you can create an opening with an ear pick. Now, the ear pick did bring this plug forwards. It didn't remove it, but it did defragment it somewhat there. But what it's allowing me to do is create a bigger opening at the roof of the ear canal, and that's going to help me then use the angled ear hook. So this plug, because it's so hard, we need greater surface area. The ear pick doesn't have a lot of surface area. It's just the tail end of the pick, whereas the ear hook does have greater surface area. And because the right angled ear hook, it's tapered, so the tip is a bit more narrower as it reaches the tip in comparison to a traditional St. Bart's ear hook. It allows me to penetrate into even the hardest plugs of wax. With a traditional St. Bart's ear hook, the tip is very blunt, so it would have been difficult for me to penetrate into the plug, which would therefore mean I would have to get right behind it and drag it forwards. But with the right angled ear hook, not only am I able to leverage over and beyond the wax to bring it forwards, but if that's not possible, because it's not always possible, I can penetrate into the hardened plug of wax. So that's their left eardrum, nice and healthy. And we're going to move on to their right ear, which is the problem here for the patient. You can just see this plug it's got flakes of shed skin on the surface of the plug. It's also matted. There's quite a few hairs here. Similarly to the patient's left ear, I started off with the ear pick because there's not much of an opening at the roof, and because we can't see beyond, I've just got to be a bit more careful. So I have gone for the ear hook. I've just got to be careful that I don't accidentally touch the bony part of the ear canal. So instead of trying to get in and behind at this stage, I'm penetrating into it. And although I didn't remove the plug, I have dissected it in the middle. And I think I'm going to go to the bottom. So I did put some olive oil spray into the ear as well, just to kind of help soften the surface because it was so hard. So I'm going to go underneath and just lift it up. Before I can drag this out, I'm going to have to separate it because it is adhered to the floor of the ear canal and also posteriorly. Because I loosened it and I fragmented the centre, I've just gone back in with the suction to see if I can bring any pieces out. And there's a piece here to the left. There's a bit of skin attached to this. I'm going to reach out for the forceps, if memory serves me correct, in a moment to bring this away. Sometimes with a hardened plug like this, you just got to make it a bit smaller. Almost like a hammer and chisel technique. You break it up and then you take little bits out, and it reduces the size of the plug. It weakens it as well, so it's not solid. Because if you cut through the core of it, I mean, it's still going to be solid, and it was, but it will break down the core. Now, guys, I want to apologise for a video that I uploaded a few days ago. It's on Instagram. There was the grade 3 keratosis obtrans. for some reason the whole video didn't upload. Only well, there should have only been 2 parts, because the video was about half an hour long, and on Instagram you got a video limit of 15 minutes. I did it in 2 parts, but for some reason it was part 1 was 7.5 minutes and part 2 was also 7.5 minutes. So there's still 15 minutes of that procedure. I wasn't aware, but I've just read some of the comments. What one was a bit nasty, but you come to expect that. So I will upload, if I can today, part 3 of that video. Now, if you are watching on Instagram or say TikTok, well, mainly Instagram, there is a YouTube link on my bio page. So if you're really, really keen to have seen that part 3, if you just click, just in case that happens again, sometimes Instagram can be a bit temperamental in terms of video uploads, but you can always visit the bio, visit my YouTube channel, and on YouTube there's no time limit, so I can upload it doesn't matter how long the video is, I'm able to upload, so you can see it there. But I will upload that hopefully today, if not tomorrow. So I'm just going to go posteriorly and inferiorly. So posterior, when we say posterior, we mean to the back part of the ear canal, inferiorly to the floor. Again, I'm just trying to separate this, and I felt like I loosened it a little bit when I did that. It just freed. So I'm just going to suction it out. And at that point, the patient found it slightly uncomfortable. And the reason for that is this plug, although it's mobilized, it's quite a substantial piece and it's rough around the edges. So when I made contact with the suction probe, it caused the plug to move in the ear canal, and it just, patient just found it slightly uncomfortable. So I came straight out, and I've just gone back in again. I just hovered over it because I don't want to apply pressure on the plug. I just want to let the suction do the trick, really. And I brought it into the isthmus. So the isthmus is the narrowing between the first and second bend of the ear canal and the outer third. So it's right in between the first and second bend, that. But it's not going to come out with suction. And this is why, if you're an ear care specialist, you need to really get trained on manual instruments. Recent training courses that people we've trained who are already performing earwax removal, they're not very familiar with manual instruments. So we do spend quite a lot of time with manual instrument training at our course. Now, that was another benefit of the right angled ear hook. Because of its tapered and low profile, I was able to get into that really small gap at the roof of the ear canal, and I may not have been able to with the St. Parks. I may have, but with the right angled ear hook was no problem. There's a bit of wax around the periphery, so that plug I just had to use my gloves to pick it up because it was so rock solid. There's a bit of skin there. I'm going to just peel that away. And you'll see around the perimeter of the ear canal, you can just see how much compression the ear canal is. A bit red, a bit of erythema there. Otherwise, I think it's fine. A bit of keratin just in the pars flaccida, but it's not embedded. It's not going to cause a problem. So the plug to the top left is of the patient's left ear. The plug bottom right is of their right. You can just see how dark it is. It's really oxidized. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care, keep well, speak soon. Bye.